In the meanwhile, let's look at the shit throwing between the Iranians and the Americans. Yeah, like the hot takes from Hugo before I start. Inevitability. That is the only thing I want to tell you. When it comes to a country under sanctions, a country completely isolated, a country using very antiquated modes of keeping both legitimate and illegitimate opposition down, and a country that just keeps having the shit kicked out of it whenever it tries to develop nukes. And what you have as an inevitability, a bunch of motherfuckers on the streets fucking burning shit, and then a bunch of cops shooting them, and then a bunch of other motherfuckers be like, oh my God, they're fucking shooting them. And then you have chaos, and then you have coups. Partially legitimate and partially illegitimate, like most coups are. So yeah, surprised literally zero people. Will this one be successful or not? I don't know. You don't know. Nobody does. But unless the Iranians switch up their shit, no joke, like you need to switch up your shit a little bit. Either actually finally make the nuke without you having it like assassinated out of your hands or something, which should hopefully then allow you, because you will then have true sovereignty, to change the mode of how you run the administration of your country. It will be pretty chill. But, until then, you got to struggle with all this shit. Thank you, Raw Chicken, and thank you, Nervozan, for the gifty. Thank you very much, both of you. Thank you very, very much. Should keep an eye on Iraq and Iran. The sources are sparse with the blackout, but they have long fought for better workers' rights. As a result, have a lot of grassroots organizing in workers' councils. This is like from 2 days ago. Don't expect much to come from it, but it'll be interesting. I know that Pandas is Iranian background, I believe. Or maybe you're just like perfumes and white Mercedes too much. Tell me what's your hot take on everything that's happening. Because I don't want to be a Balkan boy talking too much about a place that I've never been to. But nonetheless. Complete and total support to the workers in the city of Arak in Iran. Manifesto of the Workers' Councils of Iran. The workers of Markazi, to our comrades in Khuzestan and all the Iranian people. For decades, our demands for bread have been met with bullets and our demand for dignity with imprisonment. But today, the silence is over. We, the workers of the factories of Arak, declare the following. Workplace control. From now on, the management of the machine, Sazi, Azar, Ab, and Vagon, Pars factories will be in the hands of the workers' councils elected by the workers. We no longer recognize state-appointed managers or the regime's puppet unions. Connection to the territory. Our strike is no longer about wages. We call on the citizens of Arak to form neighborhood councils to manage security and supplies. Our factories are your protection. Defense of the soldiers. We call on our brothers in the army. Do not become the murderers of your fathers. If you side with us, our councils will guarantee you safety and that of your families. Ultimatum by the regime. Any attempts to forcibly enter the industrial complexes or arrest our delegates will be considered an act of war against the entire city. If a single drop of workers' blood is spilled, the flames of revolt will leave no trace of its power. We are not here just because of unpaid wages. We're here to decide how this factory and this country should be run. The era of bosses and mullahs is over. All power to the councils. That's fucking legit. This is what I mean. Let's see how successful they are, but that's what quote unquote organizations, or what quote unquote organizing is all about. And I'm tired of repeating myself. But the main point of organizing is when chaos erupts like this, you can attempt to co-opt it for the cause. Chaos can erupt for many things, sometimes even reasons contradictory to your own cause, like, for example, Western imperial influence, etc., etc. But even those kinds of moments can very cynically, yes, it is cynical, very cynically be co-opted for the cause. I don't care if it's done cynically or if it's done through some incredible feat of moral superiority. but it's very interesting. But it's still, it's nonetheless, if it's successful, it's successful. Jesus, very English language today. It's in the Discord. Oh, damn, I got a big text. Okay, any hot takes on Iran from an Iranian? I mean, depends. Shouldn't be hot, but feels like a lot of people are confused on all sides, so might be. There's quite a bit of different dynamics at play. Here, which feeds into the confusion, but I will try keeping it short. He doesn't keep it short. The Iranian government is deeply unpopular and has been for a while. Protests have been ramping up for many years now. Everyone knew this was coming. Yeah, I said like 2 years of streams ago. I low-key guessed that, unless they make a nuke, of course. We should, as leftists, obviously be for revolutions against brutal governments, and this is no different. I believe the confusion stems from the monarchist camp that is deeply aligned with Western imperialism and has acted as a tool by imperialist power. They have a very loud voice due to the diaspora groups and foreign-funded propaganda, and they play a significant role inside of Iran, but not the majority. Like within the pro-democratic anti-regime camp in Iran, they take up a vast spot, but not the majority spot, but still a very loud one. Organized and well-funded, one with Reza Pahlavi, whilst being deeply unpopular, with many being the most popular political figureheads, pretty much. That's why even amongst those who don't like him or his family, they still see him as an acceptable transitional figurehead, but with the most still being skeptical. Yeah, usually what fucking happens. Get the king back is absolutely everywhere. Anyways, the confusion here stems that the pro-Shah anti-regime government are and always has been intertwined. The Shah camp has always supported all anti-regime actions, but advocated for imperialism. And there are other shit on top of that, which sets off red alerts for anti-imperialists, because it looks like, and partly even is, foreign intervention. Absolutely, those two things can exist at the same time. But this time, for the first time, pretty much they're calling for people to take to the streets with no outside help, which is pretty significant. Everyone is finally aligned. No outside help, we don't know that. But yeah, basically the majority of the people in Iran want secular, quote-unquote, democracy, whether that's in the form of a republic, federation, constitutional monarchy, or whatever. Within that camp, the majority are against foreign interventions, but monarchists that make up a significant amount of that camp, but not the majority, are the pro-imperialist ones, and they are overrepresented in Western media due to diaspora and propaganda reasons. So anti-imperialists think of the anti-regime camp being just the pro-imperialism one. There's no easy way to go about this. The revolution will not be black and white, and there's no telling how it will turn out or who will come out on top, as anti-imperialists would just have to hope and agitate against foreign involvement. Yeah, that is a very fair assessment, right? But it one thing that is very painful about it, right, that is pretty wacky about it, is okay, the current Iranian government falls. Okay, they change the model that they use to operate this, capitalist state, which now completely aligns with Western hegemony, which then removes another Axis power from the equation, no longer allowing for example, pro-Palestinian help or general like anti-American help, etc., etc. What I'm trying to say is, the big loss for the quote-unquote anti-American unipolarity camp is going to potentially come in the form of regime change in Iran. You're reading the DMs and stream is crassy. It's pretty crassy. What is happening here? Okay, Jesus, we are Marxists. What is happening here is absolute chaos caused by many contradictions. Contradiction number one is obviously complete and utter isolation of Iran. Contradiction number two is the management model of the state, right? which uses physical coercive force more than one could define as normal, even when compared to some pretty aggressive places. Number 3, the biggest contradiction: no nuke, bro. So intervention very possible, bro. All of those combined and spiced with an incredibly crumbling economy, and you have chaos. Who co-opts the chaos? That is the choice between socialism and barbarism. Okay? That is the choice. That is the game of revolution. Chaos comes, who gets to co-opt it? That is how it has always worked, and that is how it's always going to work. Will this revolution be stopped? Will this revolution be co-opted by pro-American traitor forces? Or will it be replaced by a more efficient anti-imperialist camp? Time will tell. Okay? You understand? Okay. If you come to this stream to do like nationalist side-choosy masturbation rituals, this is really not for you. We look at systems. We look at predictable pathways towards what can go, towards which particular situations can go or not go, and that's what we like to talk about. Those are pretty much the 3 options for Iran. Obviously, the worst one is there's the biggest chance for that one. It just turning into another pro-American colony and not really getting any of the potential positives the Iranian people might want from the changing of the current status quo. But hey, I would love to be surprised.
Iranian state television says these are government support.
But yes, but if you still need, though, you have to have your position as a principled, whatever, anti-imperialist. My position is that if Iran... my position is the following. I consider Iran falling when it changes its anti-American and anti-Israeli positions. That is how Iran falls for me. But if there can be major changes domestically in the country without Iran, quote-unquote, falling, that's a different conversation. What's the prediction? I am black-pilled because the main reason for the economic decline are the sanctions. So if you come in power after the previous government and you want to improve the economy, which is mostly why people are out on the streets, what you got to do? You got to open up the economy. How do you open up an economy when you're under sanctions by America? By doing what America says. There you go. That's if the regime falls, that's what's going to happen. You don't have to be a fucking brainiac. I disagree with you on what we ought to practice. Waiting for contradictions, deepening is self-defeating. We don't live inside a structural world or China. No, I don't say wait for it. I say be absurdly proactive in agitating for an alternative to capitalism and developing anti-capitalist organizations so that you can co-opt the chaos. If you can slightly help the chaos grow, sure, but what's the alternative? You're pushing accelerationism, which also doesn't work. You can make a very good point about how massive the crash is going to be. And yes, you can make a point that the socialism can never happen in America because such a crash cannot happen in a place with so many treats. Unless it's a borderline, very multipolar world, and then foreign intervention that causes even greater chaos that then fuels minimizes the power of the American state to such an absurd extent that workers' movements can actually defeat it. Blah, 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 blah.
Supporters demonstrating against what it describes as terrorist actions by anti-government protesters. Hundreds of people have reportedly been killed and injured in the crackdown on widespread demonstrations that were sparked in late December by soaring prices and the collapse of the local currency. But the tone of the protests soon changed to calls for the overthrow of the clerics who have governed Iran for nearly 50 years. The government says at least 100 security personnel have been killed in the violence. Rights groups say the civilian death toll is far higher. Al Jazeera cannot independently verify these reports. Iran's leadership has blamed the US and Israel for stoking the protests. The foreign minister says the situation is under control, but he stressed Iran was ready to respond to any US or other foreign intervention, but was also open to talks.
Iran is not seeking war, yet we are prepared for any preemptive operation. We are even much more prepared than we were in the...
This is what's absolutely fucking insane, and everybody should obviously fucking be against it. The United States co-opting this movement, or potentially having started it, but I don't want to be a conspiracy theorist here. So the United States of America co-opting this uprising as a way to just turn Iran into yet another vassal state is the main thing that we should all be focusing on and all critiquing.
Past. Again, the enemies are miscalculating their moves. We are open to dialogue, yet dialogue on the basis of dignity, mutual respect, and above all, our national interest.
This came after threats by the US president.
There seem to be some people killed that aren't supposed to be killed. These are violent, if you call them leaders, I don't know if they're leaders or just they rule through violence. But we're looking at it very seriously. The military is looking at it, and we're looking at some very strong options. We'll make a determination.
Rallies in solidarity with Iranian protesters have been held in cities around the world, including this one in London. China, Tehran's most powerful ally, says it opposes the use of force in international relations and hopes the Iranian government and its people can overcome, quote, the current difficulty. A spokesperson...
Man, diasporoids are such legends, dude. Fucking hell, man. They're the same in every country. It's so funny.
Iran's foreign ministry says lines of communication with the US are open. Charles Stratford, Al Jazeera.
Well, Kimberly Halkett is at the White House with the latest on President Trump's possible response. But first, we cross to Tehran, where we join Tawhid Azadi. So, Tawhid, first of all, Ismail Baghai, he said there's a channel between the Iranian Foreign Minister Abbas Araghchi and the US envoy Steve Witkoff. Does that mean they are actually using it and they're actually talking?
Well, actually, from the Iranian side, what we have been heard is a sort of mixed message. First, when it comes to the diplomatic sphere, Iranian side, including Iranian Foreign Minister Abbas Araghchi, pitches upon the...
Listen, no, this is boring. It's not boring, of course. This is a major event, but you stand against empire blockades you. You either find alternatives to surviving the blockade by creating greater levels of sovereignty, either through nukes or by creating very strong, well-developed alternative economic pathways, or you collapse. When you collapse, the people that wanted change want the economy to get better. What is the only way for them to get the economy to get better? By talking to the people that have isolated the country. In this case, it's the Americans. Okay, talk to the Americans. You apologize. You become borderline a vassal state, but the economy improves. That's what the fucking normal everyday Joe on the streets of Tehran fucking wants, and that's what happens. Okay, you don't want that to happen. Run the economy better. Build a fucking nuke. You want that to you want that to happen. I mean, you don't want that to happen, but it's an inevitability. It's going to happen. It has happened 700 bajillion fucking times in the last 100 years. It's going to keep fucking happening. That's the game. That's the game. You want to play it against the bigger, a particular enemy, you got to play the fucking game. or you potentially lose. And that's it. You get what I'm saying here, right? You get what I'm saying. Like, I can sit here and be like, the overtake of Iran is horrible, or the overtake of Iran is based because it's theocratic evil government. As much as we don't do that, we play a more meta game, okay? We play a more meta game. And the meta game is saying how shit fucking works. Which in this case, my support or lack of support literally does nothing. Iran, you want your fucking independence? Make the economy somehow run under isolation and build nukes. You don't want that combusting on your fucking ass? Woo, maybe get better. That's it. That's it. Now it's on the Iranian protesters, the Iranian state, the Iranian 7 kajillion fucking contradictions to work themselves out and come to a fucking synthesis. Let's see what the synthesis is. I hope there are good organizations on the ground. Pandas gave a very decent explanation that are not going to allow the monarchists to completely take over and immediately sell out. But what I am saying is that you low-key have to sell out to the Americans, because the main thing making the economy that shit is the isolation. I think people rising up to the repressive government is great. Whether it will be great for the country, we'll have to see. Yeah, I'm trying not even give those kinds of moral categories to everything that is happening, right? The only moral category I ever give on is literally Gaza, because it's a fucking genocide. That's when, I have a very loose moral compass, but not that loose.